Alola YouTube, Gabe here with another deck profile. This time I'm going to be going with my Overlord deck profile because everybody loves this hot anime content. So before I begin, I want to make one thing very clear. I picked up this deck about a month ago, so in preparation for the BT13 support, so there's going to be some questionable things like a lack of Dragonic Blademaster support. That's because I didn't want to spend the $200 to get Titan and Janet for this deck, because I'm just going to drop them when the set 13 Overlord support comes out anyways, so that was useless for me to pick up. If you have them, feel free to use them, but that's why I'm not running them, so please don't comment, why no Dragonic Blademaster Titan, Herder, XD. So yeah, there's going to be some things like that, but it's because this deck is built with BT13 in mind. It didn't exist before the BT13 support. So starting off with our starter is the OG Lizard Soldier Conroe. So Conroe was unbanned because Nouvelle Vague is irrelevant. So Conroe's a great boy. He's so good because he lets you search for a PG, Stride Fodder, or a G-Guard if you want, or if you're feeling like a huge dick, you can search for Gatling Claw just to snipe your opponent's starter. But there's a lot of things you can do with it for consistency, because Kagero, a control clan back when BT01 was new, Bushido just went, hey, let's give them some fucking utility for no reason. So Conroe's great, and he should definitely be your starter, even after BT13. So, main grade 3 is Dragonic Overlord the Legend. So, you should all know what he does because it's been like a year and a half since he came out. It's, GB2, Counterblast 1, discard a grade 3, become a G unit, and when it attacks a rear guard at the end of the battle, dump 3 to restand. So, it's the only Overlord that is able to restand that maintains triple drive, so it does a lot of drive checking. So if your hand is utter garbage, this can definitely give it a nice hard reset, and it lets you just sack triggers out the wazoo. So it also has a solid on-ride skill, on-ride Counterblast 1, Soul Blast 1, check top 5 for a Flame Dragon, add it to your hand. There are a lot of good Flame Dragons in this deck. The PG is a Flame Dragon, the Stride Fodder is a Flame Dragon, grade 3s are Flame Dragons, Draw Trigger is a Flame Dragon, your Heal Trigger is a Flame Dragon. There's a lot of Flame Dragons, so it also gets you some really nice utility, so it's a great fucking card. Backup, we are running Perdition Emperor, Dragonic Overlord the Great, including one Legion rare, because I hate Legion as a mechanic, but Legion rares are honestly the best rarity that we've ever got, because this thing looks fucking beautiful. I wish we got more stuff like this, because this border and the hyper texture of it's just so good. But whatever, we're running it because I didn't want to like overflow on grade 3s like with the Legend and the Cross, and I like running Neo Flame, so might as well run the Legion that goes with it. Also, I bought this deck I bought the deck whole, I didn't buy singles, and the guy was running Dragonic Overlord the Great, and I was like, I already have the Great, I don't want to pick up the Cross and the Legend, and it's fine, I like the Great. I usually ride it after I go into the Legend, and if I'm running out of deck due to excessive deck thinning or drive checking, so it lets me put triggers back, so that's fun. I like it. If you have the Cross and the End, run them, but I'm not going to be running them even after 13 because I'm going to go the Legend and the Destiny. But if you have them now, run them. I've got 4 Emperor Dragonite Naholm because it's an 11k base, since all of your grade 3s are Overlords, and it gains, when your grade 4 Vanguard attacks, it gets 5k. So of all of the restandings in Overlord, it basically becomes a 16 to 21k beater. So Naholm's a good card. We're running 3 copies of Dragonic Burnout, which is on call, take an Overlord, put it from drop put to the bottom of the deck, Soul Blast 1 to retire something. So it lets you put Overlords back, which is kind of decent for the deck. But something, if you don't know, which you should know since this card's been out for 3 years or whatever, is even if you don't have Soul, you could put Overlords back into the bottom of your deck if you just need deck back, because it says when it's placed on rear, if you have a Kagero or Vanguard, choose an Overlord, put it from drop, put it to the bottom, and if you put a card to the bottom, then you pay the cost for the retire. So if you just really need deck back, you can do that. I'm probably going to drop him for the, what's his name, the new Blazing Horn, because while only can retire the column, Blazing Horn doesn't make you lose an Overlord, so you can keep the Overlord in your hand and still get a retire, and Blazing Horn can hit 19k base potentially, so. But Dragonic Burnout's solid. We're running 2 copies of Perdition Emperor, Perdition Dragon Dragonic Neoflame, including the 1 Legion Rare, if you didn't see that coming. But, like, back on the Legion Rare thing, this shit is fucking amazing. They should have kept going with this instead of the over-glorified triple R that is GRs. GRs are just textured, whatever, it's stupid. But Neoflame is decent because it's on call gain red text. Whenever a card in its column is retired, Counterblast 1, retire another card in the column. This is nice for your Ziegenberg turns because you can just snipe 2 things for Counterblast 1, Soul Blast 1 just to empty everything out. I only run it at 2 because I don't really go into the Legion a lot, so it gets and it can get kind of clunky at over that, so you really only need 2, and it's never really been much of an issue. It's gonna go out when the new set drops. Yeah. And I'm running 2 copies of Berserk Lord because I need to run Neoflame, and I think Burnout and Nahalem are better than Berserk Lord, so I'm only running 2 Berserk Lords at this time. What I'm probably going to end up doing is up Berserk Lord to 3 or 4. It's going to be, my deck list is going to be 4 Nahalem, and either 3 Berserk Lord, 4 new Blazing Horn, or 4 Berserk Lord, 3 new Blazing Horns, if you think that through. But Berserk Lord, when your grade 4 Vanguard attacks, Counterblast 1, choose an opponent's grade 2 or less rearguard and kill it. It's every time it attacks, not once per turn, so if you have one of your many restanding Vanguards, you could just do that. It's a good card because it lets you kill shit. Next, we are running 4 copies of Protect Orb Dragon, which is the unflip G-Guard. It is not going to be replaced by anything because unflipping is too good and it's a fucking flame dragon, and dumb shit is ass. It's ass standalone, and compared to Protect Orb, it's 30 metric tons of ass. There's a reason why Protect Orb is still $15 after 2 years or whatever, and it used to be 25 to 30. You got 4 copies of Lizard General Conroe. It lets you search the Overlord you want, because all of your grade 3s are Overlords, and you can, if you only have the one you don't want to ride in your hand, you can get the one you do want to ride, and since it makes you discard for that, you can fill your drop zones with Overlords to use Burnout or other things. But it also can kill itself to give your Overlord Vanguard the ability on attack countercharge 2, also not once per turn, so if you're going to restand, you can get a potential countercharge 4, which is really good because this deck does eat up counterblasts, but this mitigates every single one of them. That's not a Flame Dragon, though, so you can't search that with the Legend. 4 copies of Lava Flow, it's a Flame Dragon Stride Fodder. Overlord is basically a G-Deck at this point. We got Lizard Soldier Balag at 2, which is not a Flame Dragon, as it is a Dragon Man, but this is a fun shenanigan card, because when you guard with it, if your Vanguard was attacked, and the battle if the Vanguard was attacked and the guard was successful, you can retire one of your opponent's rested rear guards. The fun thing is, you have to block the Vanguard, because you can't guard if they're attacking a rear guard and get a retire, but you don't need to retire one of the attacking cards, so you can guard one thing and then guard another thing and then kill the front row. This card's really fun with Defeat Flare, because you can basically retire 4 of your opponent's cards on their turn, which is really fun. I love Hand Trap Kagero because it's really the most interactive deck in Vanguard, because you actually do things on both turns. It's great. Got 4 copies of Gatling Claw Dragon, which is a Flame Dragon. Counterblast 1, move to Soul. If you have a Kagero Vanguard, retire an opponent's grade 0. Since starters are very strong, but a decent amount of them are GB locked. Getting rid of them fast is good. And it's also a draw trigger, which Kagero kind of needs. We got 4 copies of Positive Draco Kid, which is honestly just kind of ass. Because for starters, Kagero uses a decent amount of soul with Burnout and the Legends and whatever, so you kind of use up soul, which makes its cost annoying. And what makes it even more annoying is the G guard you go into also eats up soul for its cost, so you very, very rarely ever actually use this thing's ability, but rather have it than not because it's a potential unflip. But this is definitely going to go after 13 because we're getting the new double R heals, which are honestly better because you don't need to go into a specific G guard to use them, and it gives you a counter blast or it gives you a counter charge or a soul charge instead of a blast for a counter charge. So it's basically much better. Also, this is a flame dragon, so you can search for G guards with the legend. We got 4 copies of Seal Dragon Biella because it's the double R foil promo crit, and this deck has to be as shiny as it physically can. All of the cards that come in the Legend deck that are in this deck are shiny, and Sparkle Power is all that matters. I wish Bellog and Lava Flow and Gatling Claw all got foil reprints just so I can make this deck 100% foil, but Bushi can't let us have fun. Next, we're running 4 copies of Tenpo Master Hakai. I know I should be running Blu-ray or whatever the other Flame Dragon crit is, I know, but this crit is going to go away for the crit that's coming in 13 because it's a Flame Dragon crit with a skill that lets you do more column retires like Neoflame. So even if I bought the Flame Dragon critical, it would just be going away anyway, so even if I'd only be wasting like $1 to pick them up, it's still $1 I don't need to waste. On to the G-Zone. We are going 1 copy of Vortex Desire, which is the first stride almost always. It's on attack, flip over anything. On hit, retire 2, or for whatever reason you're in Legion, retire 3, but it has to be grade 2 or lower, because that's how it's worded. So it's a good card. It's on hit, but it's a potential retire 2. It gives you GB2, so if you really need to use the Legends GB2 because your hand is ass, it's right there for you. It's a decent card. We're running 1 copy of Mustafa because, again, we do not have the, what's it called? Titan, and Mustafa does a thing. It also gives you instant GB2, and Vortex Desire is on hit. This gives you a guarantee retire and possibly refunds itself because it gives a card on hit counter charge. So if there's one card, if your opponent has either only 1 card or 1 card you have to get rid of and you have no other means, Mustafa is a good card to go into. Also, it's SP, but it's going to be cut after set 13 because we get the Purge. We're running 2 copies of Defeat Flare because it gets over resist if your opponent only has 1 card with resist in a column, and getting rid of 2 cards for no cost is fun. We're running then 2 copies of Dragonic Overlord, the Ace. It is the only Overlord that can attack the Vanguard and restand and attack the Vanguard again. It's a bit costly with its Counterblast 2% flip, but you have the counter charge engine, so it's pretty decent. And it does get 5k, so you don't really go into it a lot, but I'd rather have the option than not. Next, we're running 1 copy of the GB8 Blazing Burst Dragon because it's a GB8, and if you're playing against a Paladin clan or any other field-based clan, a free board wipe with a massive power boost is really nice. It's not one of the... I wouldn't say it's one of the... It's an okay one. It's not one of the best. It's definitely not the best, definitely not the worst, so run it, might as well. Next, we are running my favorite and strangest thing in the deck is 3 copies of Flare Arm Ziegenberg. We're only running 3 because in all of the games I have played with this deck, and even with the BT13 support that I proxied, I have only needed 3 Ziegenbergs. I've only strode Ziegenberg twice, and Persona Flip with that. I have never needed to utilize 4 Ziegenbergs. I've never been, God, I wish I had another Ziegenberg to Persona Flip, or God, I wish I had another Ziegenberg to stride into. Honestly, 3, sure, 4 can come in handy, but 3 is honestly a really good amount, and I'd rather have the free up G-Zone space, because honestly, I've never really found the need to run 4, and it's a $20 card, so if it lets me save $20 for what's going to be like a $40 or $50 card in the form of the Purge, might as well do it. Because with the deck, after set 13, you're going to be going into Ziegenberg like second or third stride thanks to the Purge's free damage and potential quad/penta drive, so you'll need multiple 4 Ziegenbergs, even less after that. So honestly, I think 3 is a really decent number to have, even because I've only needed 3. I've either strode into it twice, and the game was over, or strode into it twice and one of them used the Persona Flip if need be. I've never had to stride Ziegenberg 3 times, or stride it 3 times and need a Persona Flip. So just 3 honestly might be a bit much. I'm not going to, but I've considered reducing it to 2. But enough of a tangent for that. Onto the G Zone. We are running the G Flip, G Guard, Advanced Guard Dragon. This card is a fucking piece of shit. It's going away when set 13 drops. The only reason you run it is because of the unflip with positive. But it's going to just go away for another Denial Griffin, because this card is fucking terrible. It's Soul Blast 1 when Kagero already kind of has a soul issue in the build. Flip over a G-Guard. When you guard with it, choose an opponent's grade 1 or less rested rear guard and retire it. So, not only does it have to be rested, so you can't even preemptively stop shit like kill a Flogel against blasters or something, but it also... It has to be grade 1 or less, so while it can be in the front row, you can't do shit with Denial Griffin, and it costs a Soul Blast. So not only does it not really stop a big attack like Denial Griffin, it also does it for effectively more of a cost since you have to waste a G-Guard with it. So this card is fucking ass. I almost never use it. It's going to go away for another Denial Griffin. Running 1 copy of Divine Dragonite Abd Salam, which is a really, really fun card, because when your Vanguard is attacked by your opponent's Vanguard, and you guard with Abd Salam, you can counterblast 1 to give it 10k for each of your opponent's empty circles. This is really fun against Tachis or Shadows that retire their shit on their own turn, because while they get their bonuses from retiring, they basically do your job for you. But also, if what you can do is go into Defeat Flare and Abd Salam for a absolute minimum of 60k shield, so you can go 71 base if you really just fucking need some memes. It's annoying that you can only stop the Vanguard with it, but like it's fine. It's usually going to be if I ever go into Advanced Guard, it's usually the flip target, but it's nice to have it, and it's going to be even more nice after set 13 when Overlord gets even more retire potential, because it's going to retire a fuck ton of shit after 13 thanks to the Destiny. Next, we go 2 copies of Denial Griffin, which is a great fucking G-Guard. When you guard with it, you kill one of your opponent's attacking rear guards. So while it doesn't get over resist, if it doesn't have resist, it doesn't matter how big the card is, it's fucking dead. So it doesn't get over Zoa. So Zoa's meta, #confirmed. Zoa's ass. ZR is overrated. If you made it this far, please write ZRs are overrated in the comments below. But yeah, this is a great G-Guard. It does retiree things, so if your opponent attacks with a rear guard first, you can Denial Griffin, then Abd Salam for a minimum of 26k shield on its own. But also, if your opponent's playing a Retire Clan, you can just interrupt their plays. Like, if they're going into Phantom Diablo, you can kill one of their rear guards, so they have to attack with the other column or lose a booster. So it does some fun things against Retire Clans. It's a good card. Lastly, we have the card that I keep mentioning, 2 copies of Defeat Flare, including the 1 SGR, which I picked up for $18 when they were going for $40. So this was a good purchase, and also this card looks fucking beautiful. You can just cover your brother. He's ugly. You're the beautiful one. So, when you guard with Defeat Flare, if your Vanguard is an Overlord and your opponent's Vanguard is attacking, you can counterblast 1 and choose 2 grade 3 Flame Dragons from Drop, aka every Overlord, shove them to the bottom of the deck to wipe out your opponent's back row. This gets over resist, so if anybody tells you it does it, they're stupid. If you're playing against Blaster, you can fuck over all of their Flogels, which is great. It's a great fucking card. And I run into 2 because thanks to the Legend and Conroe, it's pretty easy to turbo out Overlords, because you can search for a bunch and start them and then just put them back in your deck and repeat. But after set 13, it's going to be even easier to turbo them out because you have Destiny's Stride skill, which lets you check the top 7 for another Overlord. So, I honestly, people are like, but it makes you put shit into the deck. I honestly think 2 is worth it because you can really accelerate Overlords in and out of your deck. So I think 2 is really worth it, especially considering how good this card is. So, that was it for Overlords. I wanted a new deck to play with, and everybody on this channel likes our Overlord content, because the only deck profile in our 10 most watched videos is an Overlord deck profile, and our most watched video is an Overlord Legend deck fight. So, I wanted a new deck, and I wanted to do something different, so I went with the thing that will get me the most money. Also, the deck's pretty fun because you can do shit on your opponent's turn, and I really like interactivity. So, yeah. Again, I know there are issues with the deck because it was made with BT13 in mind, so I'm just waiting for that to come out, then it's going to be fine. Again, if you made it this far, please write hashtag ZRs are overrated down in the comments below. Like, comment, subscribe. Yeah, I think that about wraps it up for our weekly anime content. And it's December, 11th right now. I'll be back in LA in like 9 days or something. So we're going to get a lot more content faster. Instead of having to upload one thing every 2 days, we're going to probably record a bunch of videos and maybe upload something every day for a decent amount of time. And again, Richard lost his laptop, which has all of his editing software, which is why we're not getting a lot of the edits. So please just kind of deal with that. We're dealing with that. We're going to still try to get you the content that we can because we love our fan base. And yeah, happy almost New Year, happy Hanukkah, which is going to be starting by the time this is uploaded. So, l'chaim and shalom, my dudes.